Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. It's beautiful to be able to be in Shul together with this community, and thank you for all of the support that you've given along the way. I got shouted at by my doctor today for not being boundaried in the way that I work, and I feel that that's something that we probably all relate to in some shape or form or other. And it struck me, we had a bit of a conversation after our Thursday evening minyan yesterday about the word avodah, which is the word for work. So if you go to work, you're going to avodah. Except there are at least two other very important ways to translate the word avodah that come up in the Torah. So there is this word, so Sheshet yamim ta'avod v'asita kol melachtecha. For 6 days you shall work, and you shall do your melacha, that's your everyday creative work. Uvayom hashvi shabbat l'Adonai Elohecha, but the seventh day is Shabbos. So the Torah uses that sense of work. And in the beginning of this week's Torah portion, we have Va'elei Mishpatim. These are the laws that you need to set before them. Ki tiknei eved ivri, when you purchase a Hebrew slave, shesh shanim ya'avod, for 6 years that person shall work, and then you have to set them free in the seventh. That word eved comes from the same root avodah. So avodah, that means work, also means slavery. I'm not asking you if your job feels like slavery, but we'll come back to that. But there is a third meaning that is very importantly used in the Torah, in this week's Torah portion, but certainly towards the rest of the book of Shmot, of Exodus, that we are only in the early chapters of now. And that is avodah, as sacred worship, as more specifically sacrificial worship up until 2,000 years ago. But when we have avodah, in that sense, we are doing service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are serving God, the ruler of rulers, in whom we are always in service to, and it's the same word. So avodah, when we come to shul for a shul service, it's not by accident that they call a shul service. That is what we are doing. We're doing avodah. That's what you just did now in the Amidah. So this to me was very important to acknowledge for myself, but maybe for all of us, the important shades of meaning that come with this word, avodah. When we set out to do the work that we do, because that is the nature of what we are created for. When the Torah says 6 days you shall do your work, it's not saying 6 days you can kind of hang out and on Shabbos you can have beautiful Shabbos. It's saying 6 days you shall do what you are put on this earth to do, which is nothing less than to transform the world during your lifetime, so you can look back afterwards and say, well, this is what I did. I fulfilled my purpose. I worked. I did my avodah. I gave it the best that I could. Important. But important as well to know when to stop. Uvayom hashvi shabbat l'Adonai Elohecha. Shabbos is not there just because God thinks it's a great idea. Shabbos is there because it helps us to know that we need boundaries of when we should be working and when we should be celebrating, resting, nurturing, spending time with the people that we love, and not driving ourselves to change the world. How do we get that balance right? Well, maybe that is the essence of those other two shades of meaning. So I noted yesterday that the language that's given for the Eved at the beginning of the Torah portion is language that evokes other language, as Torah often does. When you hear, for 6 years they will work and on the seventh day they'll go free, it makes you think of Shabbat. 6 days you shall work and on the seventh day you shall rest. It makes you think of the sabbatical. It makes you think of all of those 6s and 7s that the Torah raises for us. So it says to us that there is something about slavery that maybe we might have wanted the Torah to say slavery is outlawed. Wasn't ready then, it was ready later in rabbinic tradition, but by then it was not ready to outlaw. But already the seeds were planted to say, if we as people who work need to rest, the only way that we can do that is if we are free to determine time. And for that we need to be free from a human master so that we can serve the greater good of this world by choosing what we do with our time. Shabbos only works if we can take Shabbat. The danger is, in today's world, and I'm not saying that slavery doesn't exist, shockingly it does. The danger in this world is that we do a very good job of enslaving ourselves. We do a very good job of not putting Shabbat as a requisite in our week and making sure that we are downing tools and giving ourselves the nurture and the restoring rest that we need at the end of a working week. We make ourselves into avadim. At Pesach we sing avadim hayinu v'ata b'nei chorin, and now we are free. We are free of Pharaoh, but maybe we have become Pharaoh to ourselves. So what helps to not make us slaves? The third meaning, and that's the avodah that is the service of something greater than ourselves. And I'm not talking about the things that are obvious, that are material, that are in front of us. We're talking of the things that are beyond everything that we can possibly imagine, except we get little sparks of them when we try to go beneath the surface, to dig deeper, to find meaning in why we are here, so that we can truly do avodah, that we can bring our true selves, our soul selves, to the purpose for which we are created. That ultimately must be the avodah that we are seeking to do. So this Shabbat, I'm asking myself and I'm asking us to think about how to balance all of those three. How to be able to do the avodah that we need to do in this world, for which we are created and put here for a limited period. How to do that without becoming avadim, slaves. And how to bear in mind that ultimately we are serving something much greater than ourselves. We are in service of it every moment. We might not realize it, but we are. Let's take time this Shabbos to understand what it is that we are and what it is that we need to do, not today, after Saturday night, so that we can keep the avodah not being slavery. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Good Shabbos. It's very hard to be free if you are not physically and spiritually well, or